What made the high school legend become a legend? We had a teacher who was infamous for not letting you go to the bathroom no matter what. I mean, so much so that if you accidentally started your period in class, she'd make you wait. This happened. So there was a girl who we'll call Katie in class, who tended to be a bit of a troublemaker. Katie hated that teacher, because she'd begged to go to the bathroom and got shut down every time. At the end of the year, Katie asked one more time to go to the bathroom. The teacher said no. Katie asked another time 5 minutes later. The teacher said no again. 5 minutes after that, Katie asked again, but said that the teacher was not going to like what happened if the teacher didn't let her go. The teacher hit the roof and said that if she said one more thing, Katie would be sent to the principal. Katie shrugged and said, "This is on you," then, and pissed on her seat, right where she was. The teacher sent her to the principal, who called her parents, one of which was a urologist. Her father yelled at the principal. The teacher ended up in deep crap. According to other kids, she never denied another kid the bathroom again. Katie was a effing legend. The senior class was gathered in the gym for a pep rally type event, but there weren't any planned events, so we students were getting bored and restless. In an effort to engage us, teachers offered to let kids tell jokes into the microphone. The very first guy that goes to the microphone triumphantly asks, "How deep are we gonna go, men?" And every male as the stands shouted back, "Balls deep." "How deep?" Exclamation mark. "Balls deep." The call and response quickly ended when the teachers swarmed him and took away the microphone. Jokes were over for the day. Later in the year they hold another senior event in the gym, but instead of jokes they let kids sing karaoke. Fun. Until the microphone goes missing between songs. Everyone is seated in the stands when that same guy stands up just laughing his ass off because someone handed him the microphone. The teachers say, "Don't," and he just keeps laughing. He manages to ask a single question into the microphone. "How deep?" For the first time I understood school pride as 900 students, even the girls, joined in shouting "Balls deep." Legend. It's pretty stupid, but a friend wore a Walmart hot dog costume and for some reason everyone thought it was funny. Started chanting "Hot Dog Kid" and he won the best Halloween costume award of that year. Next year he wore a penguin costume and as he stepped up on stage he ripped it off to reveal the hot dog costume underneath. Everybody effing lost it. Sadly we have a rule that you can't win 2 years in a row, so while he didn't get the prize we all knew who had the best costume that day. That is how the legend of Hot Dog Kid was born at my high school. When I was a freshman, there was a senior on the last week of school who thought it would be legendary to streak on campus. He was 18. He was unable to receive his diploma on stage and had to register as an offender. Go Wildcats! His last name was Alcock and he ran for student council. His campaign posters consisted simply of his slogan, "Part man, part machine, Alcock." When I was a junior in HS, the wrestling team would hang out in the bathroom at lunch and pack lips in the stalls. There was a kid who was probably on the spectrum who'd also hang in the bathroom every day and eat his lunch there, so we befriended him and tried to give him some banter. I went to a midnight screening of Superbad and the first time McLovin came on the screen I was like, my god, that looks just like a slightly skinnier version of Stall Kid. So the next day at school I saw him in the hall and during our usual daps I was like, "You, it's McLovin." That caught on and for the rest of his time in high school everyone called him McLovin. He liked it. Then he was voted prom king as a senior. Hope you're well, McLovin smiley face. 3 kids at my high school literally saved a baby's life by lifting up a car off of a child that got ran over and had its head pinned under the axle. The baby would have died had they not showed up. Those kids were hailed as heroes and if I recall Good Morning America offered to fly them to New York for interviews but they declined. Joe Sticka, class of 1969 at my HS. The guy didn't exist. He was created by a group of my friends as a mid-year transfer student with a totally fabricated deep background that was so smooth. Joe even made the yearbook with a picture unavailable caption. The high school was near both a grocery store and a Petco, so someone bought sugar, a loaf of bread, and 100 crickets. They soaked the bread in sugar water, tossed it up into the drop ceiling, and let the crickets out into the ceiling as well. They bred like crazy and the chirping was constant and echoed into the loudest possible brrr ring noise I've ever heard. He cut his thumb off on a 3rd floor window 5 minutes before final bell and buses, getting all of us locked in the school of an hour as the ambulance arrived, took him away and the school cleaned everything up. He copied a Benito Mussolini speech when running for student president word for word, won the election by 5 votes. Long story short, jerk-off a substitute wouldn't let a heavily pregnant girl use the restroom, and she had to go to the nurse then the doctors afterwards, enraging entire graduating class of the girl. Substitute quits after 3 weeks of open season on him, with him giving this speech of how we're all ungrateful and how we've made him regret ever wanting to be a teacher. According to my little brother, who is currently at that school, it's still talked about because the faculty put in a rule that a teacher cannot prevent a pregnant student from going to the restroom. In 9th grade, one of our teachers got sick, so we got a sub, and this kid just starts talking in a strong Spaniard accent, like super well, and convinces the teacher he is from Spain, and he talks this way for 3 months. It was hilarious. And when another kid tried talking as a Spaniard too, he got really upset and accused the other kid of mocking his culture, etc. Then when the year ended, we had to do a presentation and our teacher who got sick came. So the kid just nodded through the whole presentation while his group mates talked. It was hilarious. My teacher assistant in college stopped showing up to class for a couple days. Later on we found out he had gotten high and got into a car chase with the police. We never saw him again. Snorted a whole line of crushed red pepper and spent the rest of the day locked in a bathroom stall coughing his lungs out. Year 10. Head boy has to be picked, England, and it's picked by vote. It's a year group of about 150 students. So we had the obvious, popular, well-liked by everyone kids. We had the popular cricket players, the football captain, and the sophisticated, obvious choice. Me and my little posse of in-betweeners. I suggest F that. We picked one guy from the Forgotten Kids Club. Let's call him Chris. This guy has pretty below average grades, not a lick of athletic ability and his social abilities. Well, he's part of a group of kids that stays behind and spends lunch in the German teacher's class because he got bullied so bad on the schoolyard. Chris found himself named head boy to his absolute shock due to the minority being united and the knobheads all split and vying for position. He was a good dude as well, really committed himself to it. His grades improved. He became a better speaker. The lad glowed up considerably, and by the end of year 11 we had a whole army of people carrying him down the street for the final end of exams parade. We would just sing his praises despite not knowing him that well, and it just caught on. D-word move, I know, but we did genuinely like him and thought it would be good for him. I like to take credit for suggesting the whole movement, but really it was just a testament to how one downtrodden dude can rise to the occasion and became an absolute effing ambassador for an entire school. He won over everyone. Dude was impossible to hate. This guy didn't become a high school legend until the last 10 minutes of our last day at school. I went to school with this kid for 5 years who, throughout all of high school, was bullied for the way he looked, considered a teacher's pet, generally unpopular with most of the school, etc. No one knew much about him at all, apart from the reasons he was, unfortunately, bullied and ostracized so hard. On the last day of our final year at high school, we had a leaver ceremony where teachers gave speeches, students were given awards, etc. Typical painstaking, sit down for 2 hours while you watch all the accomplished sports kids drown in trophies ceremony. Out of nowhere, the principal introduced a performance from this kid, the notorious unpopular teacher's pet. We were all so confused. What could he possibly be performing? He got up on our school's theater stage as if he were to do a stand-up special. He then proceeded to perform a 10-minute long Adult Swim style sketch in which he did spot-on impressions of not only every single teacher in the school, in front of them, but the exam invigilators, the cleaners, and even the effin' dinner ladies. This guy had fully produced and scripted an entire one-man sketch where he played all the characters being every member of staff in the school. For the very last time we would all be in that hall together. It was truly a, then everybody clapped, moment IRL, as he got a standing ovation from every teacher in the hall, and all 120 students who relentlessly bullied him all these years prior. It felt like a massive middle finger to everyone who underestimated and ignored him. This mystery kid, who'd been bullied and ignored for his entire 5 years at our high school, became a legend within 10 minutes on the very last hour of the very last day of our time in that place, and then I never saw him again. Wonder where he is now. Halfway through my last year of high school, someone managed to put a ceramic toilet on top of our multi-story gymnasium. I have no idea how that feat was achieved. The school staff didn't know either, nor could they figure out how to get it off the roof once they found it. As a result, it remained on the gym for the remainder of my time there. I never found out who did it, but I will admire them until my dying day. Had a girl in high school get super drunk at a party and she crapped her pants really badly in front of everyone. Her last name had the word tank in it already, so this legend was pushed to the next level after that night. I don't remember a ton from high school, but I remember the effin' tank. I almost forgot. I have another one. Our AP English teacher went out on maternity leave, and we got a sub who did not give a single crap. We were studying Romeo and Juliet, and she just decided to throw on the 1968 Zeffirelli film version. She just brought out a book and started reading. Well, she didn't think that out too well, because Juliet gets topless in that one. Some little crap said, "Ma'am, I didn't get that scene. Could we rewind it?" She barely looked up. Totally missed the boobs. 5 whole students pulled this, including a girl, before she noticed. Those 5 were gods in the school for a little bit. They stole a effin' llama from a circus, called him Serge, and took him around the town in public transport. Alcohol was involved. Colombian kid was getting bullied until he kicked his bully upside the head big time. That little prick of a bully didn't know Carlos, the Colombian, competed in taekwondo tournaments at the national level for Colombia. Someone installed games onto the school server. There were a bunch of N64 emulators, Peggle, and some other games. But then there were also LAN games that could be played against anyone, Everyone in the school including Counter-Strike and Halo. Sometimes you'd go on and there'd be no one. Other times there'd be 10v10 fight in Blood Gulch. It lasted at least 10 years but don't know if it has been taken down since.
Like, subscribe, and check out our TikTok for more content. See you next time!